Hello, we'd like to welcome you to this presentation of Plymouth Profiles. Plymouth Profiles is an opportunity to meet with people from the greater Plymouth community. And today we're delighted to have three people from Beth Israel Deaconess Hospital, located here in Plymouth, formerly known to many people as the Jordan Hospital. And I'd like to begin by welcoming the first two guests. We have Dr. Kenneth Yu and Dr. Kyle Trecartin. Welcome, Kenneth.
Pleasure.
Welcome, Kyle.
Thank you.
So, Kenneth, let's begin with you since you're right next to me. Tell me a little bit about your background. Where did you grow up? Where did you go to school? What's your background and training?
Sure. I actually grew up in Canada, Vancouver, British Columbia. Came to school in the States. I did my residency training in dermatology at the University of Michigan. And then after that, I became a faculty member at Harvard Medical School. And then I did a fellowship in Mohs micrographic surgery and cutaneous oncology at Harvard through through Brigham and Women's Hospital. And I am now, I'm still a faculty member there, and now I practice in Plymouth with Plymouth Dermatology Associates and also Beth Israel Deaconess Plymouth.
And where is Plymouth Dermatology Associates?
It is on Court Street, right next to Cordish Park.
Okay. And if people wanted to contact you, how would they do that?
They can go to the website, www.plymouthdderm.com.
Good. And Dr. Trecartin, tell us a little bit about your background.
Sure. Originally from New Jersey, made my way to Cornell for undergrad, SUNY Buffalo for medical school, and then performed residency training at Beth Israel in Boston. Came here after residency. I'm an emergency physician. Have been the associate chief of the ER for the last 5 years, and recently was named interim chief medical officer at Beth Israel Plymouth, and it's a pleasure to be here.
So let's continue on with you. I'm going to call you Kyle for the program. But Kyle, tell us a little bit about some of the changes now that are going to occur at the Plymouth campus with the expansion of the emergency room.
Sure. Thank you. So we're very excited. We've been planning this for quite a while, and we've really outgrown our emergency department footprint at this point. We currently see in the range of, 40 to 45,000 visits per year in the emergency department. The patients are getting more complex and sicker, and we really need increased space. We've been planning with Beth Israel Lahey Health, the overall system that we're a part of, in terms of fundraising and architectural planning for quite a while now, and are planning to expand significantly the square footage of our emergency department, as well as improve the footprint to have more private rooms, 37 to be exact. And the plan is to be able to service up to 65,000 visits per year.
Do you have a target date as to when you think the work will be completed?
We're hoping for 2028.
Okay. And I know you brought a few graphics with you. Describe what they show.
Sure. So the first picture is a rendering of the outside of the building. We're expanding in place. We're going to be both renovating the space that we're currently occupying, but also expanding into new square footage. We've moved a number of services off-site in order to make room for this. And we've really started the work on the waiting room, at this point. And so I think it'll offer a much better experience. We also have a picture of the nurses station here, which will really improve the lives of our clinicians, both nurses as well as physicians, and all the other staff members that help us take care of patients in the ER. We'll have better workstations. Currently, providers often have to stand and use workstations on wheels, whereas now they'll have a place to sit and talk quietly and maintain privacy for our patients. And then the patient rooms, we're very excited that they'll be able to open and close, which will allow, patients to recover in a quiet space. And you can imagine the ability to to isolate patients from a respiratory status became, first and foremost during the recent pandemic. So both of those things, I think, will be a significant improvement to our patient satisfaction.
Terrific. Mm-hmm. Dr. Yu, tell us a little bit about what you do clinically.
Sure. I'm a board-certified Mohs surgeon, and so my primary work is to take care of patients with skin cancers, and specifically I use a an advanced technique called Mohs surgery. It's a way to use a microscope to assist the removal of skin cancers in such a way that it minimizes the amount of collateral damage. And so you can remove the cancer safely, effectively, and with minimal risk of recurrence.
And where do you perform these types of procedures?
The procedures are generally done in the office. It's an outpatient procedure. You come in to the office just like a regular day. You can have breakfast, lunch, no problem. All the work is done under local anesthesia, and make you comfortable, and then we would remove the cancer right there in the office.
Now, how would people know whether or not they need to come to see you?
That's a very, very good question. And so, it is, skin cancer is actually one of the most common kind of cancer in the United States. And, an estimate says about 1 out of 3 Americans will have a skin cancer in their lifetime. There are many kinds of skin cancers. Melanoma is one that people often hear about, also squamous cell carcinoma and basal cell carcinoma. One of the best ways to make sure that something on your skin is not a skin cancer is to go see a board-certified dermatologist. We can provide you with a comprehensive skin cancer screening, head to toe, look you over, and if you have something that you're worried about, usually things that are bleeding, painful, growing, something that has changed color, something that is crusted or painful, come to see a dermatologist, and we will be able to help you figure out if it's a skin cancer.
And you mentioned earlier before you came here, you're in the scrubs and you're doing some procedures. Were you doing them at the office or at the hospital?
That's correct. So I do all the procedures in the office. And so all of this is, like I said, done under local anesthesia. So you do not need to go under, and you can generally go home on the same day.
And how long have you been here in Plymouth?
I've been in Plymouth for 3 years now. Yes.
All right. And do you ever have reason, you're affiliated certainly with Plymouth.
Absolutely.
Do you ever have reason to be at the hospital?
Yes. So, I work very closely with our physicians here at Plymouth, at BID Plymouth, specifically the oncology group. I'm also a cutaneous oncologist. And so we work together on patients with more complex skin cancers, metastatic disease, or patients who require additional interventions such as, immunotherapy, chemotherapy, or even radiation treatment. And as a cutaneous oncologist, I provide patients with the guidance on sort of how to proceed if you were to get one of these more advanced skin cancers. And, I would coordinate care with our oncology group here at BID Plymouth. And I also provide sort of longitudinal surveillance services. Once you've had one skin cancer, your risk of having another one is much higher than the general population. So I would be your dermatologist to kind of follow you and make sure that you don't develop another one. And if you do develop an additional skin cancer, we'll treat it appropriately.
So is it ever the case that you go on site to the hospital to also meet with patients, or when you consult with other physicians, is that done more virtually?
Yes, so I do virtual consultations with our colleagues here at BID Plymouth. Sometimes my colleagues will just pick up the phone and give me a call. And generally, if there's a need, they would come to the clinic at my practice. I also do tumor boards with our colleagues here in Plymouth, and that's usually done virtually. And so we would have a panel of experts, and we would sit together and review patient cases together and figure out what's the best treatment option for our patients with skin cancers.
And when you say tumor boards, is that a cancer tumor?
Absolutely. So tumor board is a panel generally consists of a panel of physicians from different specialties, including medical oncology, head and neck surgery, general surgery, dermatology, radiation oncology. And so these are, we would put all our heads together to figure out what's the best way to deal with a complicated cancer.
So the screening is going to be
in the
people
office
coming to you to be a visit. What about protection, and what about skin cancer prevention?
Right. So, skin cancer prevention is it's really key. Prevention is key to taking care of taking care of a lot of diseases. So one of the best defenses we have for skin cancer prevention is the use of sunscreen. And so I recommend everyone who is going to be out in the sun to use an SPF 30 or higher sunscreen that's also broad spectrum, which means that it covers both UVA and UVB. And the sunscreen should be applied every 2 hours if you're going to be out in the sun. If you're going to just be going about your regular daily business, once a day application is what's recommended.
Right. Now, Dr. Trecartin Kyle, I have been a customer over the years at the ER, and back in, I think, 2017, when I was in a car accident, I was in the ER for quite a long period. So is the timeline going to change at all once we have expanded areas?
I expect it will improve. We still are sometimes limited by, staffing availability or how many people come in at the same time, as well as, patients with really severe illnesses or injuries, can cause waiting for others. So that can be a complicated question. In addition, we also take patients based on the severity of illness and how quickly they need to be taken care of. So it's not a first come, first served basis. Our goal is always to have patients wait as little as possible. We actually do quite well at Plymouth when you compare how long it takes to come into the ER and then see a provider. And that's because we've done a lot to advance how much care we can do for patients while they're waiting to get back into the emergency department, such as starting lab testing, initiating radiology diagnostics. And we have areas where the providers, the physicians, can evaluate you in a private setting and then bring you back to the waiting room, even if there is a wait that day.
So the private setting is also of interest to me because just at the start of the shutdown, I had to have surgery, and I had it at BID, one of the local surgeons. And unfortunately, when they released me the same day surgery, I then had complications of blockage. I had to come back, went to the ER, was there for a while, and then eventually when they moved me to another, I'm going to call it like a holding area, was at the ER, and they were just curtains. And when I was at the ER for now many years, there's been curtains, and you can hear other patients, other doctors. There's a lack of privacy. I heard you in your initial presentation talk about rooms. So how's that going to change?
Sure. So we currently have 35 rooms in our main portion of the emergency department. We're planning to expand to 65 rooms. A number of these spaces will also be dedicated to patients with behavioral health needs. So I think what patients will almost immediately experience as this expansion and renovation happens is increased privacy. We talked about the doors and having private rooms. I think that's really what you're going to experience is fewer times in the hallway or in a curtain bay and more times in a private room, as well as, the behavioral health patients can sometimes be a challenge to themselves, the staff, and other patients around them. So the areas that we'll have available to them will be much more suited for their care.
Now, in my practice as an attorney, I've also had experience of being at the ER with people with behavioral health issues. And so security becomes involved. And sometimes it may be an officer accompanying somebody. Is there going to be any improvement in the overall security of the ER with this expanded area?
Yeah, so whenever you have patients in the waiting room, unfortunately, that does contribute to security hazards, as we would call them. And having these dedicated patient rooms designed specifically for behavioral health emergencies, in part, is because they have all of the, best-in-class, security devices that we would need to help these patients.
And I know I've been working with Bob Johnson from the philanthropy department, and he's been involved in the fundraising. But if people had more questions about the emergency room, do you know where they would contact?
Sure. Yeah. So I would start at bidplymouth.org, and there should be information available on the current state of our emergency department expansion, as well as ways that, community members can help. I will say that we've had an excellent outpouring from the community. we had a goal of raising $10 million to help support this emergency department expansion, and we only have less than $2 million to go for that. So we've made a significant impact already. In addition, Beth Israel Lahey Health, the system, has put in substantial capital and resources to help us in this, and is asking for community support to demonstrate support for this new emergency department.
And how long have you been in the Plymouth campus?
Sure. I've been here for 7 years, since 2017.
Good. Dr. Yu, what does it mean to you as a dermatologist in a private practice to have the hospital so close by to your office?
It is very, very critical, and it's absolutely fantastic. It can be, it's wonderful to be able to practice in a community of physicians. We can count on each other's expertise and, help each other out when there's a challenging case. And that kind of support and the resources that you can bring to bear in addition to a private clinic are really beneficial to our patients. And that's part of the reason why, I've chosen to become a staff physician at BID Plymouth, both to contribute my expertise to the care of the patients there, and also to help take care of my patients better through the pooling of resources. Speaking of which, we were actually, you had a question earlier for me about skin cancer. How do we know if we have how does one know they have a skin cancer? So seeing your dermatologist is one good way to do that. And actually through partnership with BID Plymouth, we're having a community health fair September 27th at the Plymouth Public Library, where we will be providing some of these cancer screening services, including skin cancer screening. And, if you have any concerns, we encourage you to come to this free event, and, and we'll be happy to see you and help guide you on your next steps.
Good. I understand it's from 10:30 to 1.
Correct.
And I believe it's the 6th annual.
That's right.
Thank you. When you're not practicing as a dermatologist, what do you like to do in your spare time?
I have a 4-year-old, and so I spend a lot of time with. His name is Luke. I call him Lukey. He is a very rambunctious, active kid. So we go play soccer together, and he loves the trampoline park here in Plymouth, Nova Trampoline Park. So we go there all the time. The summer we spend quite a bit of time at the Nelson Park. Nelson Park. It's got a water park, so it's a great time here, and we love the waterfront.
Yeah, good. Same question to you, Dr. Trecartin. What are you doing in your spare time?
Yeah, similarly, I have young children as well. I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. So they keep us quite busy, my wife and I. But we like skiing together, swimming. We go out to the Cape a lot in the summertime, and really enjoy, the various activities that you can do on the South Shore, throughout each season. And we've really come to love this as a home.
And if somebody just joined us, what would be the one takeaway you'd want people to remember from this presentation?
Sure. So I think Beth Israel Plymouth is unique in that it is a community hospital, but it also is part of a larger system with services that are much more profound and expansive compared with the average community hospital. And what that allows is for us to perform more of your care right here at home rather than sending you up into Boston. And while we're experiencing some space challenges, that's because we're growing and because the community continues to use our services. And, that's why physicians, nurses, all the other staff members of Beth Israel Plymouth come to work every day is to help others.
And that's a good point, because I tried to do that. I was diagnosed at Beth Israel here in Plymouth with a brain aneurysm, so I had my surgery up at the BID in Boston. But other than that, I try to do the same thing. So that's a good point.
Right.
Same question to you, Dr. Yu.
Sure. I think that the take-home point I would say is, if there's any concern about your skin, please go to your dermatologist, and we're very happy to help. And as a sort of the BID family, Plymouth Dermatology offers services to our patients that covers every aspect of skin health, and we would be very happy to take care of you.
Good. Thank you, Dr. Yu.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you, Dr. Trecartin.
Thank you.
And please stay tuned. We're going to be joined by Erin Yale, who's going to talk about the hospital community involvement. Thank you. Israel Deaconess Hospital here in Plymouth. And at this time, we're joined by Erin Yale. Welcome, Erin.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. And Erin, what do you do at Beth Israel?
I have the privilege of being our Chief Operating Officer. So my job is to make sure that care is delivered in a dignified way, that the lights stay on, and that we are able to continue to build and continue to provide great care to this community.
What's your background? How'd you happen to get to be a Chief Operating Officer?
So my background is in public health as well as psychology with a master's in management concentrating on healthcare. So I was fortunate enough to be educated here in Boston here in Massachusetts for undergrad and graduate school, and spent time at Brigham and Women's Hospital. Then did some consulting work back through the partner system, and then worked at Northwestern Memorial in Chicago for 6 years, and director level roles, became a vice president at Children's Wisconsin in Milwaukee, and then took this role about a year and a half ago. So.
And you live in Plymouth?
I do.
Good. So tell us a little bit about some of the things that are happening in Plymouth now.
So at the hospital,
Yes.
We've got some exciting initiatives. You heard from our colleagues that we are building our emergency room to support the growth in our community. In order to do that, we are also going to take our oncology team and move them to Cordage Park. That will happen in 2027. By doing that, we'll be able to grow to 3 times the size of what we have currently, be able to offer a more dignified care setting for the patients, more exam rooms for the providers, and patients will be able to get their infusions and actually overlook the Plymouth Bay as they do so.
As I understand, most hospitals in Massachusetts, if not in the nation, are in need of expanding the emergency room.
That's right. Yes. For us, we are living in an emergency department that was really built for about 25,000 visits a year. We're at over 44,000 visits. So we are building for the future and building to be able to have 65,000 visits per year.
And I know you brought some statistics. Tell us about those.
I brought a statistic that we're actually very, very proud of. We were just named a U.S. News and World Report Best Hospital. And so that's really wonderful. There were lots in our system in BILH Leahy system that were able to get that designation. But there are more than 4,400 hospitals in the nation that U.S. News and World Reports looks at, and 13% get that recognition. So we're very excited about that. We also, here in Plymouth, got a top 10 hospital for the Boston area. So both of those are very exciting to us.
So if people need treatment, they don't need to go all the way into Boston if you offer the services here.
That's our hope. Our hope is that at all of our hospitals within BILH, within the Beth Israel Leahy Health System, that 70 to 80% of the care can be done in the community, with really only needing to go into Boston or to Leahy for things that really need that higher level of care. My colleagues talked about how they have tumor board, and that we're able to do virtually and talk about every patient, not only with our local experts, but also with the experts in Boston. So we try to do things virtually as well, but really make care convenient for the patient and their family, not only for their appointment, but so they can get back to work or play or the things that they do on a daily basis.
I talked earlier about the fact that I was treated for a brain aneurysm at Beth Israel in Boston, but I was diagnosed in Plymouth. And the honoree this year at my annual event is someone also who was a survivor. She had a rupture. She's from Duxbury. The EMTs took her to Plymouth, to the campus, and it was because of the rapid response time, both the EMTs and the Plymouth campus, that eventually she was able to go to Boston and have successful care. So tell us about how you have the relationship between EMTs locally in the towns and your campus and then Boston. How does that all integrate together?
It's a process that we work on very hard to keep those relations going. There are lots of pieces to it. From the perspective of the emergency medical teams, we want to be able to provide a welcoming atmosphere, quick access for them to get their patients in. We want to be able to make sure that they can get on to the next patient and get back to the emergencies that they are handling. So we have to be very swift with that and very responsive. So that would be the first piece for that. The second piece is when you do arrive by ambulance or by car at our hospital, we have all of the diagnostics that are needed to figure out what's happening to that patient and what the next steps may be. And we work very hard as technologists, as nurses, as support team, and as the physicians and other providers to not only do that test quickly, but result it quickly so that we're able to get the information to the next step if needed. The other innovation that we've had in the last year is we've all gone live on a new medical record, and that's the Epic system. Many people know it from other systems that have used it, but we are all on one medical record. So the moment that we do that X-ray or CT on the patient, people in Boston are able to review it as well. We are also able to quickly diagnose because we can go and look and see through what's called Care Anywhere what is happening to that patient and what they had if it was done outside of our system. So it allows us to triage and quickly treat as well.
And does the hospital have any involvement in the local community?
We do. We have a lot of involvement, and we're also always looking for more. We are involved in, well, this past weekend, we were at the Waterfront Festival offering blood pressure screenings. We had our wound care and hyperbarics, our spine care, our HIV access program. So lots of different groups and opportunities. We were also at Pride Fest earlier in the summer. So lots of opportunities to engage with the community. We have a community advisory group as well and a community advisory board. So we do spend a lot of time within the community. We work with the chamber, and we are always available for questions and any sort of information or improvements that we can make.
Thank you. I do serve on that advisory board, and it's a great opportunity to keep in touch with what's going on with the hospital. Erin, when you're not busy at the hospital, what do you like to do in your first spare time?
I am still getting to experience all that Plymouth and the surrounding areas have to offer. Being a newer resident here, I've been here for about a year and a half. So great towns, great food, great culture. So not a shortage of things to do.
And people just join us. What's the one takeaway you'd like them to remember about this presentation?
We are very lucky to be in a town that is so committed to supporting our hospital. And we are very lucky to have a hospital like this in our town. What we want to do is encourage open dialogue and coming to talk about things that have gone well and letting us know what we can improve on.
Erin Yale, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Operating Officer, Beth Israel Deaconess here in Plymouth. This completes this presentation portion of our meeting for spotlighting Beth Israel Deaconess Hospital located here in Plymouth. Please stay tuned as we're going to continue and meet with John Buckley, the Register of Plymouth County Registry of Deeds. Thank you. I'd like to welcome you back to this presentation of Plymouth Profiles, and today we're very happy to have with us two representatives from the Plymouth County Registry of Deeds. We're going to begin with our longtime serving Register of Deeds, John Buckley. John, welcome.
Always good to see you.
Good to see you, John. Now, John, you brought with you one of your people. Tell us a little bit about your guest.
So Liz is my new first assistant. Tim White retired. He's done a great job for many, many years, and Liz has stepped into that role and in a short time done admirably.
Good. Liz, welcome, Liz.
Thank you very much, Steve. Good to be here.
Liz, tell us a little bit about your background. I've actually had the good fortune to work with you as a private attorney, but now this is a new role for you.
It is, yes. So I had a law practice on the South Shore for 27 years. I did some conveyancing work, worked for mortgage companies, and then did a lot of elder law. So I served as guardian, trustee, conservator, and then I filed a lot of petitions. And I started a pro bono clinic at the courthouse back in 2016, and we would have families come in and we did guardianships for them for free. And I recruited a number of wonderful lawyers in Plymouth to help out, and the clinic is still going, and we do it twice a month, and it's great. Families are very appreciative, and we help them with paperwork to get through the court system.
Good. We're fortunate if someone with such a background as yours. John, tell us a little bit about your background. I remember first meeting you when you were in private practice in Boston.
Practice. I grew up in the town of Abington. Went to Abington schools, Boston College High School, Phillips Exeter, and Tufts University. After Tufts, I went to work with my Congressman, Brian Donnelly. Came back to Brockton, worked for the Chamber of Commerce, became the mayor's chief of staff when I was in law school, and then practiced law on Main Street in Brockton with a fellow by the name of Jack Uritz and John McCluskey. Yeah. John's still practicing. Jack became the mayor and went off to other activities.
Yeah, good. And how long have you been serving as Register of Deeds?
I was elected in 2000.
Okay. And prior to that, you had other elected office.
I was a county commissioner during my time as an attorney in the 90s.
So 2000 is 25 years serving?
Yeah, 25 years in this job, forward that. Yeah, I just got elected to a new term last fall, and we'll see where it takes us.
So there have been changes. I've experienced them
God.
over the years.
Yeah.
Take us through a little bit of that.
Yeah, I talk to realtors all the time and talk about the changes in their industry, but our industry at the Registry of Deeds has changed from book and paper to we hardly see anybody anymore.
Right.
People would come in every day and pull the books out and do title work, and we had 60 title examiners on site at our building over on Russell Street. When we made the transition, there was still a lot of in-house people. We started electronically recording recorded land over 20 years ago, and eventually worked our way up to recording land court registered land right before COVID hit. And when COVID hit, the results of that on real estate operations has been incredible. 80% of our recorded land and sometimes 80% of our registered land comes in over the internet. People still review it the same way. All of our responsibilities are the same. Record the document, get an image, create an index, microfilm it before it's sent back. But the world has changed.
It's true. And I have to say, my office likes the change.
Yes.
And they like the electronic opportunity of being able to record, right, as people are there at the closing rather than waiting for people to go to the registry. Although they did enjoy seeing you there from time to time.
So when e-recording started, it was really difficult to get people to understand how good it was for the lawyers and for the public.
We embraced it right away.
Yeah, many lawyers didn't realize that during your downtime, you can talk about wills and trusts and all the needs of the customers, and you had the time to do that. And then when it's recorded, you set up another appointment to do that.
Sure.
And but it has been very well accepted, and other than a few glitches, from time to time, it works very well.
Yeah. So Liz, what is it that you do at the Registry of Deeds?
So I actually help a lot of the recorders when they have questions about whether we can put something on record. So they come up to my office, they have something, or they'll have somebody downstairs, and I will look at the document and decide whether it meets our index standards and whether we can accept the document. I keep the e-file list, the submitters, so people have to actually fill out an agreement with us. And we have over 2,200 e-file submitters. So law firms and mortgage companies, all from really all over the country that are on our list. So I keep that list. I do some personnel work every now and then, but I'm also involved. I'm the chief procurement officer, which means that I am in charge of contracts. And so when we have a vendor, I have to be sure that we are following the guidelines, the Inspector General guidelines in terms of bidding. So I do varied things. So it's great.
It's kind of interesting. I mean, I'm well aware that you do carefully look at everything, and sometimes certain things aren't accepted for recordings. I actually did a closing yesterday, and the borrower's middle initial was J, and the way she wrote it, it looked like all one word, her first last name with a, and at first I looked at it and I said, did you put the J in there? And then you could see the bottom of the J.
Okay.
And so, but then when I was through and handed it to the paralegal, she immediately buzzed me and said, I think they need to at least, re-sign this because there's no J. When I pointed out to her, she came back in the mortgage signature page and the homestead signature page. She said, why don't we at least re-sign this and put a space between the first name, last name, and J, because she didn't want the recording kicked back.
Right.
But the point of that really is she knows, as we know, that you do carefully review the documents, and if there's any question, you'll ask the people.
Absolutely, yeah. And because it's our job to really help be sure that what you're doing is correct. and you won't have problems down the road. So that's part of our job. So we take it seriously, and our recorders are very good. A lot of them have been there for a long time. Our land court in particular, that's even a harder hill some days
Sure.
for folks. But yeah. And we do register on the road. John and I go out in the community. That's one other thing that is a really great service. Yeah.
Over the years, with Liz and before Liz, we've gone to town halls. We do a lot of work with senior centers.
Nice.
And particularly these days, they're so afraid of fraud. And in our presentation, we have the ability to say, look, the best way we have to protect yourself is go to our website, PlymouthDeeds.org, go to resources, and you'll see fraud alert. You can put in your email address, and anything recorded against your property, you'll get an email. Now, maybe it's something like a discharge or an agreement you put on, but if it's not, that gives you an alert, and you have to be vigilant as a homeowner to check it out. And many seniors also don't recognize when they've paid off their mortgage. Sometimes the lender records it, other times they mail it to them, and they don't realize that it has to be recorded to clear up their title.
Mm-hmm.
So those are events. Sometimes we get 40 or 50 people. We bring a computer with us. We look at their title. They come up. They ask questions. It really helps people out.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, with seniors, there are so many scams out there.
Right.
And we often, over the years, have gotten calls where people say, I got this, email or call about getting a copy of my deed for $300.
Yeah,
I said,
right.
Don't do it.
And we tell people, but
please.
some people don't really listen sometimes.
I know.
Yeah. I think it's hard. I think the scammers are savvy. If you Google something, up will pop. The first thing that pops up is the site that's going to sell it to you for $300, rather than our site, which you can get your deed for probably $3.
Right.
Or if you come to one of our events, you can get it for free.
Right.
So we've had, as the assistant register of deeds in Plymouth County as an attorney for way before my time, Mr. Reardon, Hadrich, Siebert, Frank Paris was an assistant over there for over the years. At least for close to 100 years, there's been an attorney as the assistant register to make the decisions as you would by an attorney that's done closings.
Sure. That's really excellent and very helpful.
And
And of course, usually what we find, whether it's at the registry or at the courthouse with an attorney, is that because they do this all the time, every day, they really become so expert.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
And Liz is a skilled attorney. I always like for her to tell part of her background when she started out,
Yeah.
her sports interests.
Yeah.
Want to talk about those?
Yeah, so I was really fortunate, Steve. I started after I graduated from Boston College, I went to work for New England Sports Network.
Where you played ice hockey.
Oh, yes. I played ice hockey at Boston College, which was awesome. Yeah. My dad played at MIT, and he taught us all how to skate. Most of us had black skates growing up, so we were ice hockey players. So when I graduated from BC, I went to work for New England Sports Network.
Okay.
They had just come on the air. And I did a bunch of different things. I worked in marketing, and then I did a lot of college sports. Then I decided I wanted to go to law school. So I went to the big boss, and I said, if I promised to be at every Red Sox game and every Bruins game to sit in the booth consistently, because it would be whoever they had, can you give me that job? So I got it.
Sure. Wow.
And so when I was at Suffolk, I actually went days, but I worked nights. I did all the Bruins games and sat at the broadcast booth with Derek Sanderson and Fred Cusick and Dave Shea.
Yeah.
Yeah, what fun, right? And then at Fenway, it was Ned Martin and Jerry Remy.
Oh, wow.
And it was great. Yeah, really, really great. And it was a really nice combination for me. I loved law school. Not everybody can say that, but I enjoyed it. And then I had this great job at night. So
Sure.
it was fun.
And how many women have served in your position before you?
No woman, Steve, which is wonderful, right? I
Wow.
broke that glass ceiling down at Plymouth.
That's wonderful. Good for you.
Yeah, it is good.
And
Yeah.
how long has it been since we've had the Registry of Deeds?
We are the first registry of deeds
1685.
in America.
1985.
Yeah.
Wow.
So over 300 years.
Yeah, it's a long time coming.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, long time coming.
And even the colonial court, there weren't any women in the colonial court when they started recording documents in the 1620s.
Yeah.
So, John, tell us a little bit about funding. I know that you charge fees
Yeah.
at closings, and then we have the whole documentary stamps with the Community Preservation Act. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so when people record a document, they pay a recording fee, depending upon which document it is. And they also, if it's a sale of value, they pay a sales tax, deeds excise tax. Those are our two main funding sources. We also get some money from title review and copies, but the main two sources of revenue, which make up the county's highest revenue in their annual budget, are recording fees and deeds excise.
Okay. And does that fluctuate then depending on the economy?
Depending upon the economy. I've been there a long time, so I've gone through various cycles. I remember the 2003 cycle when everyone was refinancing 3 or 4 times. And then I remember the meltdown in 2008 because everyone, was underwater. Their houses values had dropped, and they had borrowed so much, and there were a lot of foreclosures.
Mm-hmm.
So I went through that foreclosure crisis. We went through the COVID years, and that was difficult. And real estate is cyclical. We're now in a little, not a totally bottomed out cycle, but a flat cycle. And believe it or not, during COVID, as bad as it was one of our highest recording years because a lot of people were making moves on property. Mm-hmm. And all those money go to the county for our operation and their operation. And every year it either it's tough with the waves of recording because they rely upon us so much that in the upturn everyone's happy.
Sure.
But when it gets tighter, there's more arguments going on.
Yeah. And
like a family budget.
Yeah.
And is that the county commissioners that weigh in on that?
The county commission the county budget process is a 2-step, checks and balances step. The county commissioners take information from the department heads. We're independent, but I'm still considered a department head for budget purposes. And they put a budget together. And then the county advisory board, which is one member from each community, can increase or decrease that budget based upon certain guidelines, and that becomes the final budget.
So people still do closings sometimes in the registry of deeds?
Yeah, we still have closing rooms, and people still come in to do closings. Many times, if they don't have the right space or they're far away, lawyers get assigned these closings from all over the state now. It's not a local bar like it used to be. And they'll come to Plymouth and tell people, meet me here and meet me in the closing room.
Sure. And is that available? That's available at no charge, is that right?
No charge.
And you can accommodate everybody at a closing?
Yes, we find in busier days, which we haven't had lately, we have rooms upstairs and downstairs. Nobody's going to not close. Our goal, obviously, is to get everybody we can on record if they meet our standards.
Liz, you mentioned earlier about personnel. What kind of personnel is at the Registry of Deeds?
So we have a number of departments. We have a recording department. We have a customer service department. We have the land court. We have indexing. And we have IT. And we have accounting. So a lot of different departments. And a lot of people have been with us for a long time, which is wonderful. People work really hard. And we have a lot of experts in our office, I would say. So,
John, a lot of people aren't familiar with county government. People might be a little more familiar with a registry of deeds, but still not necessarily high on their radar. Why is it so important to have a good, well-run registry of deeds?
Well, the purpose of the registry of deeds is not to raise money for the county. It's to certify title in private property rights. In 1623, back in those days, the Plymouth colony started as community land. Everyone worked the land. Everyone got the same results, whether you worked hard or didn't. But they found there were a lot of people that were sloughing off and not doing the work. So in 1623, the colonial court just assigned lots of land because it was a starving time and he wanted people to be responsible for their own property. That created private property rights in America. And when you buy a piece of property, that title, whether it's recorded land or land court, has to be free of all encumbrances when you take the title. And maybe you put a mortgage on it when you buy it. Maybe you put a homestead on it. But for the most part, that property is yours and you own it. It is the best opportunity to gain wealth anywhere in our country. As you pay off your mortgage, you own more and more equity in the property. And that's how America's property system is always run. But it's important for us to reject some documents, reject random people that come in trying to put liens on your property without following the law, because we're protecting your title, and that is our primary responsibility, is to ensure that the hundreds of thousands of homeowners and commercial owners have absolute clear title.
And when you talk about title, I know as an attorney that does real estate conveyancing that it can be from information at the Registry of Deeds, but also from the Registry of Probate. So Tell us about your relationship with the Plymouth County Registry of Probate, and how do you develop a really good relationship?
Well, in Plymouth County, when I was elected in 2000, the probate court was upstairs. It is so great when the registry and the Registry of Probate are in close proximity, because many times in a title, somebody will have died and the transfer came out of probate court.
Sure.
And they have to go from the registry to probate court and verify all that information over there. We've had a great relationship with the probate court in my time. Bob McCarthy, God rest his soul, John Daly before him, Matt McDonough today, have all run a good program where people can go in and get the records and have access to the records and include it on their title report. And a lot of people that try to do genealogy can't follow it just through the registry, and they get confused by that. But many times you have to go back and forth between the systems.
And even though you're not in the same building, you're certainly within walking
Well, the
distance.
great thing is the courthouse is less than 100 yards away.
Yeah. And so the courthouse in Plymouth houses the Registry of Probate
Yes,
as the county seat.
yes,
And then you're, as you said, 100 yards away.
yes.
Liz, what do you look forward to going forward in this position as assistant registrar?
Probably to be sure that our records are secure in terms of technology. I think we still, with so much that goes on out there with cybersecurity, John and I have been working hard to do evaluations and to bring in vendors that can help us secure our records, because our records, as John said, go back 400 years, and we want to be sure that we have them. So I look forward to that. I would also put a plug in for our building. Our building is like a museum, and we actually do showcase our colony record. We pick one a month, and we write about it in a newsletter that we put out. And you can come in to our reading room, which is a vault in our building that we keep the records in, and you can see the actual document. So we really, it's like history where we are. And if you walk through our building, there's a lot of things on the wall about different people's homes in Plymouth County, like Honey Fitzgerald, different folks that own Michael Curley, different homes. And these deeds are interesting. So I just look forward to making sure that our building is always a welcoming place for the public. I think our staff, again, does a wonderful job. We really do work hard. I think we get a lot of compliments from people that say, your staff's been great, and thank you for helping me do this or do that. And we get a lot of people from the public that come in looking for things. So always want to be the welcoming place that we are.
And when you mentioned cybersecurity, and I kind of alluded to it earlier, I just think that from when I first started practicing till now, of course, we didn't have as much cyberspace in the early years, but I just am aware of seniors experiencing so much. I personally get at least 2 or more calls a day that are scam calls, and I constantly try to block the caller, block the contact, but they must have lots of numbers because they keep calling. So anything you can do to help minimize that is certainly going to be helpful to the public.
Absolutely.
And Liz is very involved. We have a difficult time keeping up with our equipment needs. Our equipment, for the most part, is good for about 5 years and have to be replaced.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a process we have to go through, following the bid laws and going to the right vendors and, making those changes on the fly because we never shut down. And an incident is coming up. Our recording software over the years has changed from 4 different, the same chain of ownership, but different companies buying out them. And we just had a recent transaction where our company Avenue was merged with other companies. Investors put a company together, and they try to make money off what we do. But it's important for us to have the right software to do that recording so it goes smoothly for our recorders and for the public.
Liz, if people wanted to contact you, how would they do that?
ewhite@plymouthdeeds.org is my email. They can come down to the registry, and I'm there Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. And
At what number, if they want to call?
our phone number at the registry is 508-830-9200, and I am extension 292.
And Liz, when you're not at the registry doing that, what do you do in your spare time?
A lot of spare time. I actually volunteer here in Plymouth at a soup kitchen,
Good.
which is wonderful. It's called Matthew's Kitchen and run from St. Mary's. So I do that. I have a husband and 2 sons, and one of my sons is involved with the autism groups, and so we do a lot of work with him around that. And so, yeah, I have a big family, which is great a lot of days, but I see my family a lot, and I have a mom and a mother-in-law, which I'm very fortunate to have. So, yes, family first, right?
John, how about you? Same question.
Well, we recently downsized and moved from Brockton to Situate.
Okay.
My oldest daughter is married, living in Situate with our first 2 grandkids.
Good.
And my second child, my son, went to college at Fordham, stayed in New York. He's a CPA for EY in Manhattan. And my daughter works for graduated from Boston College and works for a pharmaceutical company and lives in Boston.
Good.
Getting her master's in health economics at Johns Hopkins.
John, if there's one takeaway from today's conversation with you, what would you want people to remember?
I think people have to remember that our world is constantly changing. All of the real estate cycles that I talked about are things that you work your way through. What will the world be in 10 years? Artificial intelligence really has not reached the registry yet. But for homeowners, be vigilant about your property.
Mm-hmm.
If you're facing difficulty paying a mortgage, reach out to a federal housing counselor like NeighborWorks, but pay attention to the things that are going on record around your property. Go to the events that you can learn something like the things that we do, and protect your assets.
Good. And Liz, what do you think people should remember?
I think that we are a very welcoming registry, and that we're always available again, people come through the door. Sometimes they're looking for the probate court, and we send them across the way. But that, we're here to help, and we're really, our customer service department is fabulous, and we like to help people. And so if you have a question about a plan or your lot line or your deed, come see us.
Good. John Buckley.
Always great to see you.
He's
I'll
good.
see you soon.
As a wife,
Good to see
assistant
you,
register,
Steve.
wonderful.
Yeah.
And this completes today's presentation of Plymouth Profiles. Please join us for future presentations. My name is Steve Triffletti. Good day.